So let's get started. Welcome to this Pratipaksha Bhavana course and what we are working on. Though I have started sharing Brahmacharya, but at the same time, there was something more to be done in terms of self-evaluation with respect to the 3 yamas that we have completed so far.
Yeah.
So has anyone done any thinking about it, or you would like to do it now? Because without having to take an overview of what has gone past, if there is any need for change in the way we function, it will not happen till we actually look at it carefully. So, right at the beginning, I had mentioned, but I don't know how much has actually got transpired and understood by all of you. I'll repeat myself. So maybe at this point in the course, if you had not got the point earlier, maybe you will get it now, because you already have some experience now of working on yamas with VCT. Okay. The point was that this course is not going to teach you what is yama and what is niyama or what is ahimsa, etc. Okay? But everyone having to blank out their screen makes it difficult for me to communicate.
Because I am not able to start the video only.
Achha.
Let me see. That is the reason. I'm trying to switch to my laptop.
Okay.
I'm just trying. Whenever it is ready, then I'll let you.
Can. Yeah, thank you. Good. No, Nishi is there at least, so I have one face that I can see and can talk to. Yeah, that's fine. So, it is not that we are learning what is ahimsa, what is satya and all that. But when we are doing VCT, what we are doing is that we are getting in touch with ourselves. Now, all of us yoga teachers, we can teach. We can take 2 hour and 4 hours lecture and teach each of the yama and each of the niyama. And the student will also appreciate it. But yama niyama are emotional thing. They are directly influencing our emotion. Is not that we teach and nor do many practice. In fact, even when we are talking of yama niyama or thinking of yama niyama, we are thinking in terms of behavior and not in terms of feelings. So we at least do think in terms of thought sometimes, because we do realize and recognize that hinsa can be done in thought, untruthfulness can be done in thought, you know? So that we realize. But at the same time, I wonder if we have made, or anybody, I have come across very, very counted few examples occasionally who have put this into practice at the internal level and have, second point, one is the practice, 2 is whether yama niyama, we look at them as practical, bahiranga yoga. What is the nature of any practical? For any practical, One thing is that there is demonstration, then there is imitating that demonstration, then learning it stepwise, repeating some part, verifying it, then the next part, and then the next part, till the whole thing is technically learned, right? Once you have the technique right, then the next thing is that you practice. Means you repeat it. To learn it also, you need to keep repeating. You may repeat it in parts and get the whole thing right. And then you need to practice it. Means repeat it over and over and over again till you can say you have mastered it. अब तालासन इतनी बार करना है कि हम 2 मिनट तक कम से कम स्टैटिक तालासन कर सके. करेक्ट? तब जाके हम कहेंगे कि yes, I have inverted commas mastered talasana. Now, is there anything like this that we are doing or we are teaching when we are dealing with Ahimsa, Satya and Asteya? Here was an opportunity with VCT. You know, in VCT, we keep repeating the sentences. We make the acknowledgement statement 3 times. We repeat the key thing, key feeling on the points. And then we again make choice statement at least 3 times, and that can be made many times. So repeating the phrases on the points. This repetition kind of brings your subconscious available to you. In your subconscious, your emotion ka elements are present. These emotions you are able to get in touch with in a safe manner when you do it with VCT. Otherwise, it's possible that the emotions may be either overwhelming or upsetting or anything. Yes, but in this manner, it is brought under our check. It's in a regulated manner, we come to it. To begin with, because we did not see Ahimsa as a feeling, or even हिंसा फिर भी हम feeling की तरह देख लेते हैं, लेकिन अहिंसा doesn't seem to arise to us as a feeling. By working on the hinsa feeling, it is possible to start becoming sensitive towards ahimsa also. What would it mean when I say that you become sensitive towards ahimsa also? You are able to identify even subtle kind of ahimsa that comes to your mind or that you see around you, because your world is a mirror for you. So if there is ahimsa in your mind, you will see ahimsa outside. If there is hinsa in your mind, you will see hinsa happening outside. The same is true for truthfulness. If we find that people around us are being untruthful. Okay, sorry, before going on to truthfulness, one more thing. I'll say it with ahimsa and the same thing will apply to other 3. To understand, now we know ahimsa about not to hurt, but there are so many shades of ahimsa that we saw when I sent out different posts of Sri Yogendra Ji, and then we saw the VCT on that. It was shade. Why? If it was just ahimsa as just not to hurt, even though I hurt, I deeply and completely love, forgive and accept myself, hurt, hurt, hurt. And then I choose to be free from this hurt, or I choose to keep myself away from hurting. And I deeply and completely love, forgive and accept myself, keep away from hurt, free from hurt. Ho gaya. What more? But we saw that there are different aspects to it. And what we have looked at are not exhaustive, far from exhaustive. And why I can tell you this, and you will recognize and realize this, I've said this before, I'm saying it again. Now in this new context, you will probably realize it better. That Yama and Niyama are the Dwarpals of the Moksha Dwar. What does that mean? That even if you have achieved Viveka Khyati, you have been able to exercise Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi effectively. You have been able to get spiritual knowledge. You are able to discern the real from the unreal. But Kaivalya is still not for you unless and until you are practicing the yamas and the niyamas at that subtler level. Because the concept of yama and niyama, the concept of yama and niyama also keeps getting refined, and you become aware of subtler kind of hinsa. You become aware of subtler way of doing ahimsa, and more subtle as you keep progressing in the path of yoga. At the samadhi kind of level, the kind of hinsa the yogi will have in mind is that kind of hinsa. Yes, even at samadhi level, because you cannot be without emotion. The path from the head to the hand is through the heart. Emotions are always going to be there. They are the fuel that converts your thoughts into action. So that fuel is needed till you have attained moksha. And that fuel has to be pure and sattvic, free from all the klesha. Hinsa, etc. arise from klesha, isn't it? Yeah. So it has to remain kleshta. We also know that in the chitta, the klesha are a permanent feature. Chitta cannot exist without the klesha. Only what can be done is that they can be tanu karanarth. They can be kept lying low. And lie low for so long that you burn it with your tapa and get them to a burned seed stage. They are there, but they cannot sprout. So they are a permanent feature of your vritti. And ahimsa, etc. needs to be therefore practiced at the subtlest most level. कि भूल से भी हिंसा वाला कुछ भी आए ही नहीं, मन में भी ना आए. That kind of sattva. That is why now when I say that Bahiranga Yoga, it is Bahiranga, but it needs to be practiced at the Bahiranga level, means at the Buddhi level also. For us commoners, Buddhi is something subtle and Antaranga. But when you are practicing Antaranga Yoga, the Yama and Niyama is to be practiced at that subtle level, at that mental level also. And that sensitivity has to come to us. Now that sensitivity will come to us when we are there. But here we are, so let us have the sensitivity which belongs here. We need to be sensitive to our thoughts, our speech, and our action with respect to Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, and all that. With VCT, as we are at this gross level, have we become sensitized and recognize and identify how much of Himsa am I allowing myself? How much of Ahimsa I am able to change the Hinsa into? Yes, it has to be measurable. And it is measurable. Let's not push this away that no, this is not something to be measured. It is measurable. The very fact that we see, we often talk in these terms. No, I used to be hurting much more earlier. What you are doing? You have some way of measuring it. Otherwise,
Okay.
more or less cannot be used, no? Only thing is that you are using a very gross kind of measure. This measure needs to get refined as you go higher and higher in your practice of yoga. So, accept that it is measurable and start measuring it. So, make an attempt. When you make an attempt, you will realize that yes, you are able to measure. So, what I am saying about Ahimsa, all these levels and getting in touch with your own self. How much of Ahimsa I do? How much of Hinsa I do? So, ये अलग अलग से हमें अपने आप को एक स्केल पे 1 to 10 की स्केल के ऊपर अपने आप को वहां पर रखना है. And we must have our reasons for it. You will find that if you do it just now, you will have certain reasons that will come to your mind. When you repeat this again, probably tomorrow, you might have a different measure because you will have something else in your mind at that time. So like this, when you do this a couple of times, when you repeat this measuring of how much of Hinsa I do, how much of Ahimsa I do, give yourself marks of both and write down your reasons for it. Similarly, how much of Satya I indulge in, how much of Asatya I indulge in. Again, give yourself marks from 1 to 10 and write down your reasons for it. Same way for Asteya. How much of Asteya I do and how much of Steya I do. Give marks and write down your reason. So this is the main exercise. But when you are giving yourself marks, it is important to at least keep those many aspects on which I have posted the quote from Yogendra ji and the VCT on, and the VCTs that you have done. Keep all that as a more wider concept of Ahimsa, that much wider concept of Satya, and that much wider concept of Asteya. Because Asteya is the last one that we did, and we did a little exercise last time where you saw, with the help of that video we were discussing, we were not looking at desire as a part of Steya. Yes. Now, that needs to be repeatedly told to ourselves. And when we talk of Steya and Asteya, we must also consider having desire and being desireless. Even that is Steya. Then that acquisition, that is wanting more and more, is also Steya, was another thing that came up. So theft is not just picking up somebody else's object and owning it. Theft is also desiring for more, is also desiring for something and wanting more. Like that. Similarly, when we talk of Satya, there were so many aspects that we looked at. Often Satya is we utilize in our day-to-day life as stating fact. But stating fact is not Satya. Satya is about stating fact, being true to your own self, where integration of thought, speech, and action takes place. Are you saying exactly what you're thinking? And are you doing exactly what you're thinking and saying? That is the concept of Satya we learned. So, if we have started becoming aware of this kind of thing, Satya was also about not having to speak confusively when you're confusing others, or others are giving you this feedback that so-and-so is not clear about what you're saying. So that means your speech is confusing, which is asatya. So these are the additional aspects of these three things that you have come across today. What we need to do before we go ahead is give ourselves a rank from 1 to 10 on all these 6. Hinsa, Ahimsa, Satya, Asatya, and Steya, Asteya. And write your reason for it. In addition, if you want to, you can compare it with whenever you may have measured yourself earlier. You can do that right away in the group, or you can do that on paper pen just now. Maybe take how much time would you want? 3, 4, 5 minutes to do this activity? 5 minutes shall I give you?
Should be okay.
So in 5 minutes, you can either put it directly in the Telegram chat, or if you want, you can first write it on the paper and later on put it in the chat.
Yeah. Fine.
Please take 5 minutes.
We have to identify between the what is stay and what is a stayer. That is what we are talking about.
Pushpa, can you repeat what I have said to be done?
I think we talked about doing it with the 3 yamas. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya.
So what are you supposed to do?
Watch both your Ahimsa and Ahimsa aspects similarly. Find out the same with Satya and Asteya.
Okay, I'll repeat. No. If you have also not got it completely, you got it partially. Let me repeat.
Yeah.
I gave you a long context to bring everything to your mind, what we have done. Yeah. We have tried to get in touch with ourselves with respect to Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya is in one sentence. So that's the background. Now, what do you have to do now? With all that we have gone through, today, give yourself marks from 1 to 10 on where you stand with respect to Hinsa. What is the level of your Hinsa? Where you stand with respect to Ahimsa. How much of Ahimsa you do? Third, where you stand with respect to Asatya. Fourth, how much of Satya you speak? 5. What about Steya? Where do you stand with respect to Steya? And where you stand with respect to Asteya? Whatever marks you give yourself from 1 to 10, write down your reason for it.
Okay.
What will take time is really to give your reason. And you're doing it at this time. It can be different at another time when you do it. Okay. So just now, what is in your mind, based on that, give yourself the marks and write your reason. Got it now? Nishi, now you got it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Chalo, मैं भी पानी पी के आती हूँ. 5 minutes. It is 3:28. So exactly 5 minutes. So 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. 3:33. We talk again. Pause the video for that much time. Let it be.